So if you're at that B1 level in Spanish, you've totally been there, right? You're telling a story about the past, and then you realize you need to talk about something that happened even before that. Well, in this explainer, we are going to master the exact tool for that job.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We'll start with a classic storytelling problem, then we'll find the perfect tool to solve it, what we call the past of the past. I'll show you exactly how to build it, we'll see it in action, and by the end, you'll see why it's about to become your new favorite storytelling tool. Okay, let's kick things off with a super common situation. It seems pretty simple on the surface, but it actually creates this little narrative puzzle that can be kind of tricky to solve clearly in Spanish if you don't have the right tense. So picture this. You're telling your friend a story, and you start off with a simple, completed action in the past. You use the preterite tense. Cuando llegué a la estación, when I arrived at the station. So far, so good. And then you follow it up with the next piece of the story, el tren no estaba. The train wasn't there. Now your friend has two pieces of information, and they're both in the past. But something's missing, isn't it? And that is the puzzle. Did the train just vanish the second you showed up, or did it leave before you got there? As it stands, the connection between these two past events is, well, pretty unclear. How do you explain what happened with perfect clarity? So to solve this little puzzle and become a much more precise storyteller, you need to use a special tense. It's a tool designed specifically for this exact job, talking about a past event that happened before another past event. Now, its fancy official name is the Pluscuamperfecto de Indicativo. Yeah, I know, it sounds super complicated, but don't let that big name fool you. The idea behind it is actually incredibly simple. All you have to remember is this one simple idea. The Pluscuamperfecto is simply the past of the past. That's it. It's the tense you grab when you're already talking about the past, and you need to take one more step back in time. So, how do we actually build this thing? Well, the best part is that for such a powerful tool, it follows a really straightforward two-part formula that's super easy to learn. Okay, so the formula is just dead simple. It's only two building blocks. First, you take the verb haber, but you use its imperfect form. Then you just add the past participle of your main verb, the ones that end in ado or ido for regular verbs. Here's your first building block, the imperfect of haber. The great thing is, these forms never ever change, no matter what your main verb is. So you just gotta lock these 6 forms into your memory. Había, habías, había, habíamos, habíais, and habían. And here's the second piece of the puzzle, the past participle. And hey, you already know these from other tenses, like the present perfect. Your regular verbs are a piece of cake. Hablado, comido, vivido. And you'll use the exact same irregulars you've already learned, like hecho, visto, and dicho. And here are a few more of those common irregulars that you're going to see pop up all the time. Words like escrito from escribir, puesto from poner, and vuelto from volver. Once you have these down, you can basically form the past perfect of almost any verb you want. All right, we've got our new tool, we know how to build it, so let's go back and solve that narrative puzzle we started with. It's time to fix our story about the train station. And here it is, the perfect sentence. Cuando llegué a la estación, el tren ya se había ido. When I arrived at the station, the train had already left. See how that había ido just instantly makes everything clear? And that little word ya, meaning already, is the perfect partner for this tense. Just look at this timeline for a sec. It makes the sequence crystal clear. The past of the past action, se había ido, happened first, at 8 p.m. Then the simple past action, llegué, happened second, at 8:05. The grammar lines up perfectly with what actually happened. And this is so important. If you just use two simple past tenses, it sounds like a sequence. I arrived, and then the train left. But when you use the pluscuamperfecto, you are explicitly saying the train had already left before you even got there. It completely changes the meaning of the story. Okay, so let's wrap this up by talking about why this is so important. This isn't just some obscure grammar point, It's a seriously powerful tool that will make your stories and your explanations in Spanish so much richer and clearer. So when do you use it? Basically, anytime you need to give some background or explain why something happened in the past. Like, I wasn't hungry because I had already eaten. And you should definitely keep an eye out for signal words like ya, already,
Todavía no, not yet, and cuando, when. They're often a big clue that this tense is coming.
Here's a perfect example of how you can use this to talk about your life. You can describe something that was true before another point in your past. Antes de vivir en Bratislava, yo había vivido en Praga. Before living in Bratislava, I had lived in Prague. It just puts your life story into a perfect logical order.
So let's finish with a quick challenge to put this into practice right now. Using this new structure, think about your day. Before you watched this explainer, what had you already learned or done today? It's a fantastic tool, and now it's all yours.